Build your character through actions that reflect your values. As challenges arise, they will reveal your strengths. Stand firm, and over time you will create something lasting, worthy of your true potential. In Stoicism, as taught by Epictetus, actions hold more weight than words, emphasizing the importance of how we behave in the face of adversity. For the Stoics, every action is meaningful, and in this video we'll explore the lessons of Epictetus, one of the great masters of Stoicism. Epictetus was a central figure in Stoicism, alongside Seneca and Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Born around 55 AD as a slave in Hierapolis, modern-day Turkey, and passing around 135 AD, his life was marked by great hardship. During his early years, under the brutal reign of Emperor Nero, he endured constant abuse from his master, resulting in a permanent injury to his leg. Despite this, Epictetus never saw his disability as a limitation, showcasing an unwavering, resilient attitude in the face of adversity. He believed that no one has the power to harm your essence unless you allow it. Even when faced with insults or physical assaults, the true choice lies in how you interpret and respond to these situations. Epictetus taught that when provoked, it's your own judgment that causes the suffering, not the act itself. Therefore, he advised keeping emotions in check, distancing yourself from the situation, and reacting with wisdom rather than impulsivity. Epictetus never allowed himself to fall into victimhood. Through discipline and consistency, he faced life's challenges head-on, demonstrating that true freedom lies within the mind, and that this is a power entirely within our control. Nature, through the study of its laws, teaches us to cultivate reason, allowing us deep self-awareness. More than that, it guides us to build a solid moral character and live a life driven by ethics. To reach this state, it's essential to act virtuously and master our vices and impulses. Now, imagine you're part of Epictetus' school, a dedicated student. The first lesson, the central pillar of Stoicism, is the dichotomy of control. Understanding and applying this concept clearly will shape all your thinking. Some things are within our control, while others are not. Under our control are our opinions, preferences, desires, and dislikes, everything related to our own actions. Outside of our control are aspects like the body we have, whether we are born rich or poor, and how we are perceived by others. These are external factors over which we have no dominion. When we try to control what's beyond our reach, we inevitably experience frustration and disappointment. And if we believe we have total control over things that don't depend on us, or take on others' responsibilities as our own, we end up angry, blaming the world, other people, and even the gods for our problems. This sense of control over ourselves is not easy to practice. It requires self-discipline and discernment. We must first distinguish what is within our control and what is beyond it. When we focus on what depends on us and accept what is out of our hands without playing the victim, we achieve moral progress. However, when we waste our energy criticizing others or trying to change situations that are not up to us, we only create disappointment. Now, a common example is in a relationship. You expect your partner to change their behavior, be more attentive, or show more financial initiative. Even if you push for this change, the truth is, you don't control another person's actions, no matter how close they are to you. The same applies to the workplace. Imagine you're leading a team, and one of the members isn't as dedicated as the rest, arriving late, missing deadlines, and contributing little to discussions. You can guide them, but you can't force their engagement. Ignoring this reality and believing you can control what's out of your reach will only lead to frustration. Practicing the dichotomy of control means learning to distinguish what is your responsibility and what is not, accepting with serenity what is beyond your control. The second lesson Epictetus taught his students was the practice of self-control. He stated that if we allow frustrations and anxieties to dominate us, we become slaves to those emotions, drowning in a life of anguish. Self-control frees us from this negative cycle, allowing us to maintain inner peace, even in the face of challenges. Epictetus suggested starting with small situations. If you spill a little oil or lose a bottle of wine, don't get upset. These small daily irritations are opportunities to practice serenity. Inner peace has a cost, and that cost is self-control. There is a gap, a small space between stimulus and response. The key to a tranquil life lies in knowing how to use that gap. Imagine, for example, that you're stuck in traffic, late for an appointment, and suddenly, the light turns red just as you approach. To make matters worse, the car behind you doesn't brake in time and crashes into yours. Even though this is a frustrating situation, you don't need to react with anger or aggression. Between the event and your reaction, there's this space of freedom that allows you to choose a calmer and more rational response. You have a choice in how you respond to every situation. The traffic, the red light, and even the driver who crashed into your car are external events that you cannot control. However, your reaction to them is entirely within your control. This premise also applies to deeper issues, like the fundamental tendencies of your personality. Our behavior is the result of conscious decisions, not external circumstances. We have the ability to align our feelings with our values, and this gives us the initiative and responsibility needed to shape our own destiny. Think about what the word responsibility truly means: the ability to choose your response. Highly proactive people embrace this responsibility and don't blame circumstances, conditions, or conditioning for their behavior. Their actions are the product of conscious choices based on values, not automatic responses generated by momentary emotions. What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens. The lesson is clear. Regardless of the stimulus, you will always have the freedom to choose your response. The third lesson is about continuous self-evaluation. Before acting, we need to be rational. It's essential to look within ourselves with a critical eye, not to belittle or glorify ourselves, but to fully understand our abilities, resources, and weaknesses. In this way, we can make more coherent decisions. Imagine, for example, that you've signed up for a 30-kilometer race in your city. Your goal is to push your limits and complete this challenge. However, there are only 2 months left before the event. You don't have a training plan, and you've never participated in a race of this magnitude. Additionally, you haven't assembled a support team to assist you during the race. Even if you have a confident attitude, without proper preparation, the chances of you giving up or getting seriously injured are high. Epictetus teaches us that before committing to anything, it's crucial to conduct a rational and impartial self-assessment. This exercise is not to lower your self-esteem, but to clearly identify your weaknesses and strengths. By recognizing where your limitations lie, you avoid neglecting your weak points and don't overestimate your strong ones. This is essential for balanced growth and increases your chances of success. In the case of the race, the most rational approach would be to admit your inexperience, commit to a proper training plan, and organize your participation with more time and planning. Often we make important life decisions, like starting new relationships, entering partnerships, or making friendships, without performing this self-assessment. This can lead to unsatisfactory outcomes, and many times, it's our fault for not looking inward before acting. So in every situation, ask yourself honestly, what resources do you have to face it? Be truthful with yourself, and clearly assess your strengths and weaknesses. If you're convinced you're on the right path, there's no reason to fear. Take a firm stance and act with determination, without hesitation. The fourth lesson from Epictetus involves moderation. He teaches us that we should behave in life as if we were at a banquet. When offered something, we should take a moderate portion. With this simple metaphor, Epictetus highlights the importance of the virtue of temperance. Temperance, along with wisdom, courage, and justice, is one of the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism, and we have a special video on our channel detailing each one of them. To have temperance means to apply moderation to our desires and maintain harmony concerning pleasures, pains, and needs. Temperance prevents us from becoming slaves to our desires, avoiding letting them control us. This doesn't mean denying or eliminating our feelings, but maintaining a healthy distance from them. Pretending not to feel something or denying the existence of a desire is harmful to our mental health. On the contrary, acknowledging and managing these desires with balance is the path to a more serene and controlled life. Balance in Stoicism teaches us to practice moderation in all aspects of life. Imagine that you've received an unexpected bonus at work. Instead of spending that money on impulsive purchases or momentary luxuries, you practice the virtue of temperance. Rather than giving in to impulse, you choose to save part of it for an emergency fund, pay off pending debts, plan a more conscious budget, and even invest in your financial education. Temperance helps avoid impulsive spending and accumulating debt. When we apply temperance to our financial life, we have the opportunity to better organize our resources, balance expenses, and ensure that the use of money aligns with our values and long-term goals. A temperate person controls their spending with awareness, making choices that promote stability and well-being. The fifth lesson from Epictetus is, it is impossible for someone to begin to learn what they think they already know. Epictetus, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, always emphasized the value of intellectual humility. While he welcomed students into his school, he often faced frustration with those who, despite wanting to learn, believed they already knew everything. You probably know someone like this. At some point, all of us think we know it all. However, if we want to grow, we must open ourselves to continuous learning. No matter how intelligent or successful we are, there will always be someone wiser, more talented, and more experienced than you. When we close ourselves off in arrogance, we miss precious opportunities for learning and growth. Think about the last movie you watched, the last book you read, or even this video. Can you list 2 things you learned? This practice of reflection not only reveals how much we learn from our daily interactions, but also trains us to seek lessons in every experience. The 6th lesson is about living life guided by a set of principles. Epictetus teaches that we need clear and rational rules to play the game of life. Whatever moral code we choose, we must respect it as sacred law. Having well-defined principles helps create order in our lives, which is essential for acting in accordance with our fundamental values. Principles serve as a moral compass that guides our steps. They underpin our personal ethics, our behavior, and our decision-making. Without clear principles, our lives can descend into chaos, distancing us from virtue. To define your principles, you need a process of reflection and self-examination. Start by identifying the values that are most important to you, such as honesty, justice, or gratitude. Then, transform these values into practical rules that can be consistently applied in various situations. Furthermore, recognize that violating these principles goes against your deepest values. The 7th lesson from Epictetus is about the nature of happiness. He teaches that it is impossible to tie happiness to the constant desire for something we don't have. True happiness has everything it needs, and like a well-fed person, it shouldn't feel hunger or thirst. One of the greatest enemies of happiness is conditional thinking, which says, I will be happy when I get a car. This type of thinking keeps us in an endless chase, like walking in a desert toward a mirage. You may walk for miles, but you will never reach what you are imagining. This constant anticipation of future events, driven by anxiety, prevents us from living in the present and finding satisfaction in the current moment. As pleasurable as it may seem to achieve new goals or dreams, these longings are often the enemy of your contentment. By focusing on what we do not yet have, we lose the opportunity to find true happiness, which can only be experienced in the present moment. Identify this desire and recognize it as something that distances you from inner peace. As Epictetus said, you need to choose. Either you incessantly seek something outside yourself, or you find true happiness within you. The two cannot coexist. The 8th lesson from Epictetus is simple yet profound. First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be. Then do what you have to do. Think about it. How can you hit a target if you haven't even aimed? If you don't know what your dream is, how do you expect to achieve it? Our perceptions and principles help shape the direction of our efforts. but it is our actions that truly determine whether we will reach our goals. So, take the time to ask yourself, who do you want to be? What kind of person do you admire? What qualities of those people would you like to cultivate in yourself? What is truly important to you? From there, eliminate distractions and start acting with purpose and clarity. Remember, the first step to success is not just dreaming, but acting according to what you want to achieve. If you've made it this far, leave a comment saying, "Stay strong." And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Extreme Stoic, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content. Now, if you want to explore more about this timeless wisdom called Stoicism, check out the recommended videos that follow. And remember, true peace and true strength come from within. May God bless you and be at peace, my friends. Until next time.